Hello students. In our previous lectures on the skeletal system, we have discussed about what are the various functions of the human skeleton, how is the skeletal system organized, what is the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton, what are the components of these types of skeleton, that is the axial and appendicular skeleton. In addition, we discussed about the various types of joints, okay, the immovable joints, the partially movable joints and freely movable joints. In today's lecture, we'll be discussing about the muscles, because the human skeleton would be incomplete without the function of the muscles. What are the different kinds of muscles? We will also discuss about the lever mechanism. What makes the work easy? Okay, a little bit of physics about how the muscles and the bones combine to use the lever mechanism to make the work easy. So let us start with the muscles. The muscles in the body provide a means of all movement, and they cover the skeletal framework and give a certain shape to the body. They also help to maintain the body posture when we are sitting or standing. So the muscles, they can connect they may be connected to the bone. Okay, so this is the bone, and this the muscle fibers. Okay, so what is a tendon and ligament? So a tendon is a kind of a fiber. Okay, it is a collagen kind of fiber that is going to connect the muscle to the bone. Okay, you can remember like tendon. So muscles are made of fibers, right? So you can imagine there are 10 fibers. Okay, for example, so these fibers are connecting to the bone. So tendon. So the 10 fibers are connected to the bone in a tendon, whereas a ligament connects a bone to another bone. Okay, so most muscles are long bundles of contractile tissue, and each muscle usually has two ends. So there is a fixed end, okay, and there is going to be a movable end. Okay, there is a movable end and a fixed end, and the fixed end where the muscle originates, and a movable end that is going to pull the other part. This movable end is drawn out from a tough structure. Okay, that is the tendon. It attaches this muscle to the bone. So when it is stimulated by the nerve, the muscle contracts to become shorter, okay, and thicker, and it pulls the bone at the movable end. So for example, there are these two bones are there. Okay, so suppose it is at the elbow or knee region. Okay, so for example, it is in the arms. Okay, so then what happens? There will be the biceps which are there on the upper side. Okay, there is the biceps. Okay, and we have the triceps. The triceps are much longer kind of muscle. Okay, this is the biceps and triceps. So this is the bone. So these biceps and triceps are antagonistic muscles. Okay, antagonistic Antagonistic means opposing in nature. So antagonistic muscles, a structure which has been moved by muscle, cannot return to its original position without the action of the other muscle. Okay, such muscles cause opposite movements are called antagonistic muscles. Okay, antagonistic means opposite in nature. Okay, so biceps and triceps are opposite in nature. Bicep by itself cannot function, tricep by itself cannot function. They are going to function opposing each other. The biceps are the flexor muscles in the upper arm, and they bend the lower arm over the upper arm. Straightening extension of the lower arm is brought about by the triceps, that is the extensor muscle. Okay, triceps are there in the lower part of the hand. Therefore, these two muscles are antagonistic. There are the different kinds of muscles. They are the voluntary, involuntary, and cardiac muscles. Okay, three types of muscles. There are about 650 muscles in our body that are making about 1/2 of the body weight, and these muscles, they fall into two categories. Okay, that's voluntary and involuntary, which cannot, the voluntary will be controlled by our thoughts, by our will, by our action. The involuntary will, they are not under our will. Okay, they will continue to function independent of our thought. Okay, so such muscles like those of the eyelids and diaphragm are both voluntary. So when we want to take a deep breath, so that is under your control, the diaphragm. So how you are moving the diaphragm, you want to blink your eyes, how fast you want to blink your eyes, and all that is under voluntary control. There are certain muscles which are involuntary movement. Okay, now for example, the cardiac muscle, the beating of the heart, it is not under our control, under our thought. So what happens, there is a specific SA node, right, sinoatrial node, that is going to generate the electrical power impulse, okay, which is required for the beating of the heart. So the cardiac muscles are made up of the they make up the muscles of the heart. They are capable of rapid movement. Okay, and they do not get tired, of course, because they have to keep beating throughout the life. There is a certain coordination between the muscles. Most actions in our body, like standing, walking, running, playing, they require a combination of the various muscles to work in combination with each other. Okay, so there is some kind of coordination which is not only the coordination between the muscles but also the neuromuscular coordination. Okay, next we will look at what is this lever mechanism. So generally what happens when we have to pick up some heavy weight, so what happens, if you just use a straight arm, okay, you don't bend your arm, and just you keep your hand straight and you try to lift that heavy weight, whether it is easy or you fold your elbow. Okay, so you are taking the heavy weight, but you are using your elbow as a fulcrum. Okay, as a fulcrum to take up that heavy weight. That is much more easier when you are bending your hand. Okay, so the movement of the different parts of the body are usually made up of are usually easier because of the lever action. Okay, it is not liver, it is lever. Okay, okay, it's not like heart, liver, stomach, it is a lever mechanism. So the lever of the first order, where the power P and weight W act with the fulcrum in between, is represented by the action of the arm at the elbow and the action of the tricep muscles. Okay, and resting of the, so for example here we are talking about the three types of the lever mechanisms. Okay, in the first order, what is happening, the fulcrum, okay, so this you can imagine is one stick or something, right? And here you have this kind of a triangular structure, and the stick is supported only at this very tip of this triangle. Okay, now you have placed at the one end weight, okay, some kind of weight, and at the other end you are applying the pressure P, okay, in order to balance it, to make it straight, or to pull it down. So this is the kind of lever mechanism that is used in the elbow. Okay, like just I told earlier, if this was at the extreme end, okay, and you are just trying to take up the weight, okay, for example in order 3 what is happening is that the fulcrum is at the end. Okay, this one we are seeing at the elbow joint. Okay, so here this one is at the elbow extension of arm, whereas this is at the flexion of arm. Okay, that is the biceps are going to pull the lower part of the hand. Okay, so the lower part of the hand, which is having this radius and ulna, there are the two bones, right? Radius and ulna are the two bones, and humerus is the upper bone, the long bone of the arm. So what is happening, that biceps is connecting this humerus upper side to the ulna of the lower one. So in the extension of the arm, the fulcrum is at the center, okay, whereas in the elbow, the flexion of the arm, the fulcrum is at the end, the weight here is at the end. Where we are applying the pressure, we are applying the pressure here in between. Okay, so in the diagram in your textbook, so if you look at the rough structure of the bone, this bicep is attaching this is the elbow joint, okay, and here you are applying the pressure. Okay, this is your biceps. Now the biceps is going to pull this particular bone upwards, applying the pressure. Okay, so but where is your fulcrum? The fulcrum is here. Okay, the fulcrum is here, the pressure is here, and the weight is here. Okay, the same thing we are showing here in this diagrammatic representation. Okay, now when we discuss about the second order, that is in the case of the toes and heel, okay, lifting up the heel. So when we are lifting up the heel, for example, they are the ballet dancers, okay, so they have to always keep their lift their heels, and their weight of the body is supported only on their toes. Okay, so we have this long femur bone, okay, this long femur bone, this is a rather rough diagram. So long femur bone is there, and then we have the toe, there are the different bones of course here, and there is the heel. Okay, so here what we are trying to understand is that there is this long muscle, okay, that is connecting this region, Okay, so what it is doing, the pressure is coming here. Okay, the weight is centered here. So if we make a diagrammatic representation, okay, where is the fulcrum? The fulcrum is here because the ballet dancer has to keep all the weight on the toes. So this is the fulcrum. Okay, and the weight here is in the center, and the pressure is applied here. Okay, so ultimately there are these like three types of lever mechanisms that are used in the various types of movements in our body, so that we are able to lift certain heavy objects or perform certain movements in the body with much more ease. Okay, so because if you directly lift a weight versus if you use a lever mechanism to lift the weight, okay, the lever mechanism makes the job much easier. So the human body utilizes that lever mechanism, okay, in order to get some of the works done easily. So in this way we have the different kinds of muscles and the different lever mechanisms that are used by the human skeleton. Okay, so in this chapter we have covered all of these aspects. In addition, for your general knowledge, it is also better to know that the longest bone is the femur. Femur bone is the longest bone. The smallest bones are there in the ears. Okay, that is the malleus, incus and stipes. Also the nails and teeth, they are hard but they are not bones. Okay, and some muscles in our body are vestigial, that is they are non-functional, such as muscles of the projecting ears. Okay, and other like in the cow, horses and all, they need to move their ears, right, in order to get the directionality of the sound, but we don't really have to move our ears, they are fixed, therefore there is no need of such kind of muscles, but they still exist. Okay, so that is what are the different aspects in this chapter, skeletal system. So I'll see you in the next class with another chapter. You may practice the end of the chapter questions, and if you have any doubts you may ask. Thank you.